There's a player I want to speak about who's been had a lot of criticism today. A lot of Arsenal fans going in, and a lot of rivals going in on Bukayo Saka, saying that he was awful at the weekend. It was a poor performance. He just spams balls into the box. Giuseppe, I mean, I saw tweets about it. I've seen it on the radio stations. Why is Saka getting so much heat after what I thought was a very good performance this weekend?
Oh mate, I have no idea. Like, I watched some of them, and I won't name people. Everyone knows the sort of people that I'm talking about when I say this. That just like their agendas are fucking stinky now, man. It's just so stinky. Like, how can you? First of all, you can't. I can't understand how you can win a game 3-1. Yeah, regardless, 2 assists and a goal cannot be a bad game. Like, I don't care what anyone says. I just don't. That's not a bad game. 3 goal contributions and you've won the game. 3 goals to 1 is not a bad game. But regardless of that, he was cooking in that game. He was cooking Walker Peters, and he was like, I cannot understand what people are watching. And it frustrates me more than anything when it's Arsenal fans doing it, because I get rival fans. There's that element of banter in there. There's an element of the, jealousy in there, that underlying jealousy of, Saka, man, again, he's doing it. Like, I want him to be bad. And maybe that is some of the Arsenal fans as well. They want him to be bad or something, because I don't know what more the kid can do. I really don't. They want him to be, maybe it's that they want him to be a player that he isn't. They want him to be a Vinicius Junior type player. They want him to be a Saint Maximum type player, in the sense of when you're watching him on the ball, it's exciting. Oh, he's twining, he's doing all this with his legs, but he's not that player. And I've rewatched the game, and I actually am taking that back of it being a championship performance from us, because when I watched it back and I was watching it, it was like that sort of thing going to go behind. But we dominated the game. The game weren't even as close as I even thought it was when I watched it back. And they were only in the lead for 3 minutes. There wasn't even any time to even think. There weren't any time to even sit there and go, oh God, what if we lose points in this game? Because by the time it happened, we scored. But I mean, when we score, we're going to go and win the game. Like that sort of game. The first half, utter dominance, and we just didn't put the ball in the back of the net. They were good. But this Saka agenda stinks, man. And it's why, and rival fans don't understand, and now maybe they might start understanding why certain Arsenal fans talk the way they talk with Saka and get over defensive with Saka, because he gets slammed for no reason.
Can I add something to this very quickly? 2 seconds, Chevy. Right. Of all the players in the Premier League right now, and in the Premier League for the last 5 years, whether it's Spurs, Man United, whoever, I haven't seen a player get this much stick. Like, considering the amount of goal contributions he's got in the last 3 or 4 years, I think the only wide player who's got more is Salah, and maybe Son. But Son doesn't get nowhere near as much stick from rival fans. Salah gets a bit of stick, but the stuff on Saka is absolute. Yes, you weren't at your absolute best against Southampton, but you got 2 assists and a goal, and you won the game. Like, it's just a question to you guys. Like, I don't.
Can I just say, I haven't seen any of this sick. I actually saw everyone.
Yeah, I've seen praise.
I saw people saying Saka, and obviously I saw Who Scored post a stat where he's been the highest rated player of the season so far. And
I saw all of that to begin with.
And then it starts coming out.
My first reaction was, well, yeah, he was excellent. The last 2 games, it's really funny. I saw a stat that someone put like a tweet out of Arsenal stats before these last 2 games, attacking wise, and they were kind of like mid to quite low due to who they played away. And now they've got like they've gone up to be one of the top in the league after these. And we always knew that's why you don't look at statistics and league tables after the first 3-4 games, because it depends on who you play, etc. But it's been the reaction since then, which has just shocked me. And I look at it from this perspective. I know some people don't like stats. I don't really understand it. A couple of weeks ago, the same people were using Nico Jackson's goal stats, and I actually think we still have those on the... Yeah, like people were using like the Nico Jackson stats, and this was trending everywhere to show, well, Nico Jackson is as good as Saka because his goal-scoring levels were as high. The same people using those stats to attack Saka with are now stating that you can't use Saka's stats to defend him, which I find hilarious. They say, well, stats just mask how average he is. And this is the problem. I don't just think stats don't tell you everything ever. The eye test can't tell you everything either. I can't remember a player. This is a player who has I think 121 goals and assists in 236 games for Arsenal. And you've got to remember that he started his career at Arsenal. So all those very young years where you're not scoring and assisting as regularly, you're building up all those games without a goal return. But we can all see that year on year, it's getting better and better. Someone should find me 5 players that we all consider average, genuinely average, as these haters are saying, that have that level of goal return. I don't think they exist. And that's the problem when people say GA isn't everything. No, I don't know a player that anyone's ever considered average. Like if St. Maximin, who we all know had brilliant skills and he was exciting to watch, if he scored and assisted at this regularity, he'd be playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world. This is the crazy. All the stars that we love, that we all go on about, the Vinicius's and Ronaldinho's, all these guys. The reason they were so special, yes, they had the skill and the excitement, but it's because it was end product at the end of it. If you remove their GA, they wouldn't be remembered as the greats, because they'd be seen as like the St. Maximins of their time that had all the skill but no end product. Now, I admit that Saka doesn't dribble or have the kind of ball skills of a Ronaldinho or an Eden Hazard or players along those lines. But this idea that he's bang average, I think is absolutely horrendous. And I just thought it was interesting. Maybe it's because Arsenal have kind of delivered against all their detractors, because it was this time just before the football came back at the end of the last international break, when they had the injuries. It was, their season's over, they're going to collapse, they're going to lose, and they ended up having really good results. They got through that tough period. They've come through it with flying colours. They're starting to now score goals again. Maybe it's almost, I've got to find something to be negative about. But as you say, I understand rivals doing it. The amount of tweets from Arsenal fans attacking him. I mean, I was being tagged in some of them, to be fair. That's why I saw him. I just couldn't believe. I couldn't understand. How can Arsenal fans hate him?
And when you say bad game as well, sorry, Ram. When you say bad game as well, when I rewatched it, it's like the first goal, right? He intercepts the ball by putting pressure on and being hungry. He intercepts the ball, perfect pass to Havertz. Okay, Havertz does a great goal. Then to get us the lead in the game, he pulls off a world-class assist. When I watched it back, that is a world-class assist. That is, in a nutshell, one of the best assists you can have, because you've put it on a plate to him. The ball has to be perfect. Everything has to be perfect. And he's done it and nothing. And we're now winning the game. So where they're watching, but these same guys, Terry, these same guys that are doing it, the same guys I'm reading saying Calafiori was the worst player on the pitch. What a load of wass. If you watch the game, you know that ain't true. It's just absolute delusional talking. Go on, bro.
I would say, bro, this isn't specifically to Saka. This is most players. I feel like some assists can be flawed though, because if you look at the Havertz goal, Havertz did the majority of the work, dribbled and a lovely finish. I agree with you. I think the second one was a world-class finish. Even the finish, right? The fact it comes at him so fast and he hits it first time, some people are putting that rosette, some people are putting that wide. But I think it's a preference thing. I think Terry hits the nail on the head, because I feel like to be one of the greats, you have to be good on the eye and have the numbers to match with it. And I just feel like when Saka's getting compared to a lot of other players, it's a preference thing. We've had it with Salah as well. It's literally a preference thing.
I agree. Sorry, Rom. Sorry, Rom. I'm going to go to sector. Sorry, I agree with that, because again, I always preferred Cristiano Ronaldo to Lionel Messi. It had nothing to do with me thinking Messi was bad. And I'm talking about Ronaldo when he was a winger and dribbled. I love the directness. I like people that run I just like the way he did it. I also think Messi's amazing. I'd never slag him off. It was a preference. And the problem now is, I don't think you can, when someone's delivering and there is output and delivery and consistency in their role, I think you have to learn to drop your subjectivity over. Again, it's maybe this isn't ballet. This isn't ballet. This isn't street dancing. You're not judging it based on their lines and how elegant they look. It's about, do they deliver? And I just find it strange. But sorry, Jaws, over to you. Bro.
No, that's what I was going to say. I think the thing with Saka, and it's probably to his own downfall, and you see similar to Grealish, is when they were younger players, I think they generally were more exciting. I think they had more about their game, because it's just a bit more, you're younger, you play a bit more flagrant. You don't play to the way that the manager wants you to at that time. I think his game has just been dumbed down to where he recycles the ball, he recycles possession, and it's not pretty on the eye as to where fans now, they don't like watching Saka, and they've grown that distaste towards him because he's not going to take on his player 5 or 6 times a game. He's going to do it 1 or 2 times, and when he does it, I think Saka's football IQ is better than most swingers in world football. I think that's one thing. So when he does take on that player, he takes him on effectively. But unfortunately, because he's not doing it time in and time out, like let's say Matona will be doing, it's like, oh, he's rubbish. He's just not trying no more. I think you have to look at it both ways.
But Ronaldo said it himself. Ronaldo was talking, and a lot of people go, "Hey, change his game to become a poacher just to get goals." And he was like, it wasn't about, I'm going to change it so I get the goals, so I get the records. It was almost, I realized I didn't need to do all that running and step overs. It was more efficient to pass the ball to a teammate and make a run, and then he'd feed the ball back through to me than it was trying to do all the skills and the flicks and the tricks. And some play, and it's not saying that that's wrong in football, but even when you say he's not a great dribbler, so far this season alone, Saka is 8th in the Premier League for most dribbles completed per game. You've got like Kudus, who's top, right, on 3.3 dribbles per game, but 0 assists in the league, but 0.7 key passes,
with
which
West
means
Ham, with that West Ham line, it's a bit harsh.
no, and I understand that. And again, but this is also where stats are flawed. I wouldn't say that Kudus' passing has been bad. People ain't making the right runs. So as much as you might get an assist one day for a 3-yard pass that someone puts into the roof of the net, what about all the great passes that I've seen Saka make when no one's at the end of them because they haven't made the right run? That, do you know what that counts as on the stats? That counts as losing possession for your team by Saka. So as much as you might gain 5 to 8 assists a year for just a sideways pass that somebody fires into the top corner, what about all the stats that you don't get in your favor because somebody else has made a mistake? That's why I think you have to have an eye test, and you have to have the stats as well.
Even with Saka,
quickly said, one thing I don't like about modern day football fans, though, and let's just use Saka as an example. When he's getting compared to, let's just say, the obvious 2 players like Foden and Palmer, if you prefer, let's say, Foden or Palmer, Arsenal fans automatically think, not you specifically, Giuseppe, you don't rate Saka. I rate Saka. A lot of people seem to think I don't. I rate him, but it's that. And it's not just with Saka, it's with other players. It's that just because you prefer another player, fan bases will think, oh, what do you mean? He's this, he's that. Is that? Hold on, I didn't say he was a bad
It's like when you're a Ronaldo fan and someone says Messi's better.
Yeah, it's crazy. And another thing I like to say as well, and you kind of touched on it earlier, Giuseppe, if you rate Saka, that's all that matters. Forget the outside noise. It's like when rival fans say X, Y, Z about my players, not even my own fan base, if I rate the player, that's all I care about. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I hear that.
Arsenal fans ain't like that, Roms. They see validation elsewhere, man. That's
the thing is with Saka as well. The thing is with Saka as well, when you say about dumbing down his game and that, and I agree, and sort of not going gun-ho all the time. Maybe that's why he can play every single game. That's why maybe you don't get injured and sit on the bench for half the season like some of these other players, because the way he's adapted his game keeps him fit all season pretty much. And not only that, and the thing I will say about that assist as well, the first one, and I do agree, because I do agree with a 5-yard pass, someone hits it in the roof of the net, is it as good an assist? But where I'll rebuttal that is, I class the assist as he also intercepted that ball, got us back possession high up the pitch, and then slotted the ball through nicely to him. It's a bit different to someone else passing Saka the ball, and then Saka just
but that's also why you need to watch the game, because sometimes players do a dummy or they make a run that draws a defender out the way, and then it is a simple pass that gets the assist. But I've seen, it's like yesterday. There was a comment that said no Saka Palmer conversations today. Well, no, I mean, there's no Chelsea fans left on the show to do it. But equally, Palmer didn't score. He might have assisted yesterday, but he didn't score yesterday. But his performance was still excellent. And it isn't just with Saka. Sometimes it's his off the ball work as well. It's amazing. It really is great to see.
Terry, that's a prime example of what I was just saying. Palmer's assist, for me, it's an assist, but is it really an assist? Because he passed it to Noni. Noni does all the work and puts it bottom bin.
Yeah. But then there are other moments in the game that were far better than that assist, but they don't count in terms of what people look at. Yeah. This year says, funny how Trent can be praised for his long balls and crossing, but when it comes to Saka, in fairness, I will say this in defense of Trent, the same people that criticize, for instance, corners shouldn't be assists, they're the same ones that will say Trent is like a cross and Trent for years has had cross and inshallah, and it isn't. Like, what's mad is if David Beckham was playing today, he would be called people would say Hollywood balls. And that's how mad it is. Beckham's whole career would be redefined in this era because he isn't doing crazy step overs and drag backs and flip flops and whatever other skills there are. It's mad. Why, when you see Arsenal fans showing their asses, is it a show? And you made another answer for them, but you have full support telling United fans to keep your powder dry. You don't ask other United fans why others are being losers. What do you mean? Does somebody understand that question?
Thanks for the $20.
That's such a hard read, man. Hey,
My dyslexia kicked in, and I think it's me.
It should never take
Nah,
you
it's not your
3
dyslexia,
sentences
sorry, I
to
think
answer
all of
a
us.
question. I'm not gonna lie. If you take
So
two
why-
sentences and
I
you still
think
don't
he's
get it,
basically
from
trying to say when
So
Arsenal.
yeah. So this is what I would say. So Arsenal fans kicking off at Saka this weekend after the start of the season they've had, I think is highly different. Now, equally, I think Man United fans are right to criticize the manager. What I do think, though, is I'm saying United fans should keep their powder dry when it comes to our owners, whether they're good or bad yet. Because I don't think there's been enough time to know for sure. So I think there's a fundamental difference here. Equally, I think if your team's doing generally really good at the start of the season, even if you're a little bit annoyed with Saka, why have you got to go on the internet and blast him? Things are really good at your football club. There's no reason for you to be that angry. So that, for me, is a fundamental difference in that situation.